Hello everyone, how are you? Russia-Ukraine war. Russia hits power site in Kyiv. Heavy fighting in annexed regions of southern Ukraine that Russian President Vladimir Putin illegally annexed have come under more heavy fighting overnight NZ time as Ukrainian soldiers pressed a ground campaign to recapture one. I will give you today's important developments. And I will examine what may occur on the map. If you say no to war, I would appreciate if you like the video and comment. Don't hold back your support and let's show our stance. And Russian forces exploded long-range missiles and Iranian-made drones in another. A missile strike also seriously damaged a key energy facility in Ukraine's capital region, the country's grid operator said. Following mounting setbacks, the Russian military has worked to cut off power and water in far-flung populated areas while also fending off Ukrainian counterattacks in occupied areas. Dmytro Pasishchik, a hospital medic in the Zaporizhzhia region's capital who has treated dozens of people wounded during Russian attacks in recent weeks, said people sought safety outdoors or in his building's basement when the familiar blasts started at 5:15 a.m. on Saturday local time. If Ukraine stops, these bombings and killings will continue. We can't give up to the Russian Federation, Pasishchik said several hours later. He put a small Ukrainian flag on the broken windshield of his heavily damaged car. Russia has lost ground in the nearly 7 weeks since Ukraine's armed forces opened their southern counteroffensive. This week, the Kremlin launched what is believed to be its largest coordinated air and missile raids since Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24. Kyiv Region Governor Oleksiy Kuleba said the missile that hit a power site on Saturday morning didn't kill or wound anyone. Citing security, Ukrainian officials didn't identify the site, one of many infrastructure targets the Russian military tried to destroy after an October 8 truck bomb explosion damaged the bridge that links Russia to the annexed Crimean Peninsula. Ukrainian electricity transmission company Ukrenergo said repair crews were working to restore electricity service, but warned residents about further possible outages. Kyrylo Tymoshenko, the deputy head of the Ukrainian president's office, urged residents of the capital and 3 neighboring regions to conserve energy. Putin may hope that by increasing the misery of the Ukrainian people, President Volodymyr Zelensky may be more inclined to negotiate a settlement that allows Russia to retain some stolen territory in the east or Crimea, said Ian Williams, a fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a policy organization based in Washington. A quick look at history shows that the strategic bombing of civilians is an ineffective way to achieve a political aim. This week's wide-ranging retaliatory attacks, which included the use of self-destructing explosive drones from Iran, killed dozens of people. The strikes hit residential buildings as well as infrastructure such as power stations in Kyiv, Lviv in western Ukraine, and other cities that had seen comparatively few strikes in recent months. Putin said on Friday that Moscow didn't see a need for additional massive strikes but his military would continue selective ones. He said that of 29 targets the Russian military planned to knock out in this week's attacks, 7 weren't damaged and would be taken out gradually. The Institute for the Study of War, a think tank based in Washington, interpreted Putin's remarks as intended to counter criticism from pro-war Russian bloggers who largely praised the resumption of strikes against Ukrainian cities, but warned that a short campaign would be ineffective. In the Zaporizhzhia region, Governor Alexander Starik said the Russian military carried out strikes with kamikaze drones from Iran and long-range S-300 missiles. Some experts said the Russian military's use of the surface-to-air missiles might reflect shortages of dedicated precision weapons for hitting ground targets. The neighboring Kherson region, one of the first areas of Ukraine to fall to Russia after the invasion and which Putin also illegally designated as Russian territory last month, remained the focus of a Ukrainian counteroffensive. Kyiv's army has reported recapturing 75 villages and towns there in the last month, but said the momentum had slowed, with the fighting settling into the sort of grueling back and forth that characterized Russia's months-long offensive to conquer Ukraine's eastern Donbas region. On Saturday, Ukrainian troops attempted to advance south along the banks of the Dnieper River toward the regional capital, also named Kherson, but didn't gain any ground, according to Kirill Stremisov, a deputy head of the occupied region's Moscow-installed administration. The defense lines worked, and the situation has remained under the full control of the Russian army, he wrote on his messaging app channel. The Kremlin-backed local leaders asked civilians on Thursday to leave the region to ensure their safety and to give Russian troops more maneuverability. Stremisov reminded them they could evacuate to Crimea and cities in southwestern Russia, where Moscow offered free accommodations to residents who agreed to leave. Major General Igor Konashenkov, the Russian Defense Ministry's spokesman, said the military destroyed 5 crossings on the Inhulets River, another route Ukraine's fighters could take to progress toward the Kherson region. Konashenkov claimed Russian troops also blocked Ukrainian attempts to make inroads in breaching Russian defenses near Lyman, a city in the annexed Donetsk region of eastern Ukraine that the Ukrainians retook 2 weeks ago in a significant defeat for the Kremlin. Russia lost some 300 troops, 14 APCs, 5 tanks, 7 artillery pieces on October 15. Ukraine's general staff. Several explosions occurred at Belgorod Airport. Explosions in Russia's Belgorod. Governor reports fire at oil depot near city. Explosions were heard again in the Russian city of Belgorod, close to the Ukrainian border, and an oil depot caught fire. The governor of the Belgorod region of Russia, Vladislav Gladkov, reported on Telegram on October 15. "We have another shelling," he wrote. "One of the shells hit the oil depot in the Belgorod region. I am at the scene. The Ministry of Emergency Situations is already fighting the fire. There is no threat of the fire spreading. I will keep you posted." The Ukrainian military command hasn't commented on the report of shelling. On October 14, a fire broke out at the Luch thermal power plant in Belgorod after sounds of powerful explosions were heard over the city. After that, a local substation was caught fire. As a result of the explosion, some residents were left without electricity. Meanwhile, out of 10 Russian missiles launched from Russia's Belgorod Oblast towards the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv, all 10 exploded in the air, with debris from one accidentally hitting a thermal power plant in Belgorod. The first unit's Russian servicemen belonging to a newly declared regional grouping of Russian and Belarusian troops have arrived in Belarus, the Ministry of Defense of Belarus reported on October 15. The official Telegram channel of the Belarusian Ministry of Defense published photos and video of the welcoming of the Russian military to the territory of Belarus. "The meeting was unexpected, very pleasant," the Russian commander says in the video. "We came to Belarus to help the fraternal Belarusian people. We are ready to carry out any tasks." The exact number of newly arrived Russians is not reported. According to the Armed Forces of Ukraine, as of October 13, up to 1,000 Russian military personnel, as well as Russian military vehicles, are already in Belarus. On October 10, self-proclaimed President of Belarus Alexander Lukashenko announced that Minsk and Moscow had agreed to deploy a regional group of troops. According to him, the formation of the new force has already begun. Lukashenko said that the basis of the group would be the armed forces of Belarus. At the same time, he ordered to receive and deploy more than 1,000 Russian soldiers on the territory of the Republic. Thank you for listening. I will keep you informed of the hottest developments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.